Hi, my name is Prumihimo and my speciality is Kumihimo braiding. Now, I always believe that you can create a really individual look by combining different techniques. So I'm always on the lookout for new ideas. And the big craze at the moment is carrier beads, and this is a bead weaving craze. So I have prepared 3 videos to show you how you can combine your carrier beads with Kumihimo braiding. And my aim is to inspire you. So I hope that you will like the designs I'm going to show you, but I also hope that they will start you thinking about ideas of your own. Now, this video is not about making the carrier beads. There are lots of great videos out there done by bead weaving experts. As I said before, my speciality is Kumihimo, so that's what I'll deal with. So your starting point is going to be those carrier beads. Now, carrier beads can be either glass or plastic, and what I have found is that the glass beads have smaller holes through them than the plastic ones. So for these designs I've actually used the plastic ones. The beautiful glass delicas cover the bead so that the plastic is not really visible. If you want to use glass ones, you can. You just may need to use slightly finer cords than I'm using. So this is the design I'm going to show you today. This is the first of the designs. And as you can see, I've got the carrier beads in the front and I've got Kumihimo braiding around the sides. So now let me show you a little bit more detail how this design is constructed. So this is the design in close-up. And what I'd like to do is talk you through how the design is made and demonstrate some of the key elements of it. So the braid structure we have here is round braid or Congo gumi. And the cord I have used is Eslon Tex 210, which is the 0.5mm width. And I've used 8 cords. And those 8 cords all measure 150 centimetres, which is about 60 inches. The way it works is we actually start with putting the carrier beads on, and they've been knotted in between. And I have used double knots here, which I will show you. What I would like to say at this point is that you can manipulate knots once they've been done. So if you don't like the look of them, you can give them a bit of a squeeze and a squish. You can pinch them with pliers. So knots are very easy to manipulate to get to the shape that you want. And then once the beads are knotted on, then the braid is constructed in 2 parts. First one side, then the other. And the beads I have used here, I've actually used the same blue beads that I've used here, which are delicas. Now, a word about delicas is they are, because they're very precise shapes and have quite sort of sharp edges, they're not terribly comfortable to have round the back of the neck. So I have used here for this necklace, I've actually put chain at the back of the neck. So I've got the matching beads at the front where they're not pressing against the skin, and then at the back I've got more comfortable chain. But if you wanted to, if you had beads the right colour to match up or contrast with that were just ordinary size 11s, they're more rounded and those are very comfortable against the skin. So your starting point is your cords, your 8 cords of 150 centimetres or 60 inches. Mine are a little bit shorter just for demonstration purposes. And I recommend that you stiffen the ends with something like glue or clear nail varnish to make it easier to thread through the beads. Once you've done that, you find your midpoint, and then from your midpoint you want to measure about 15 centimetres in one direction, and that's about 6 inches. So that will take us to roughly there. Obviously you will have much more cord in that direction. And I'm now going to tie an overhand knot. So that's making a loop and pulling all the cords through. Now this doesn't need to be too tight at this stage because we'll sort that out later. Now what I do is divide the cords into 2 sets of 4. And then pick up my first carrier bead. They're gorgeous, aren't they? I've also kept my designs very simple, just little stripes, because I want the emphasis to be on the Kumihimo. But I know that people can do some absolutely amazing beads, so I look forward to seeing some great designs. Now, I take my cords, my 4 cords, and There we go, there's the fourth one. And just thread them through. And this is where the plastic carrier beads are easier to thread through, but I do 2 at a time. I think that'd be easier. So that I've stiffened them. If you wish to use the glass ones, you would be better off, instead of using Eslon Tex 210, use the thinner one, Eslon Tex 135, which is about 0.4 millimeters. And you should get through the smaller holes on the glass beads, but you will be able to get through very easily your 4 cords on the plastic ones like that. Now, once I've got my 4 cords through, I divide them again into 2 twos, and this is when I tie my double knot. So that is over and under, and tighten, over and under, and tighten. And at this stage I want to make the knot as neat as I can, but as I mentioned before, you can do a bit of manipulation afterwards. But I think that's pretty neat. I'm happy with that. Now I thread on my next bead, just through the top hole again. There we go, that's 2 through, and then the others. That's the next one. Whoops, this one's fighting back. And this is the last one. There we go. Now I pull them all the way through. And now again, I can really tighten that bead up by bracing this tighten the knot up by bracing that second bead against it. And now I do the same thing. I separate the cords, tie a double knot, next one on, and so forth, until I've got as many as I want on. I've got 5, doesn't have to be, could be any number that you want. Your next step is then to do the same thing with the bottom cords. So again, it's the long cords, and quite simply take them through the bottom hole on each bead, like that. Now, threading beads is not the most exciting thing to watch, so I'm going to leave you with that. So the great thing about knotting is you can do as many knots as you need to get the sort of curve you want. So you saw me doing the double knot on the top, but as this is a necklace and I want a curve on it, I've actually done extra knots on the lower holes to give me that curve. And in this case, I've actually done 4 knots. So double, triple, quadruple. So 4 times I've done that crossover and under. And that has worked well for me. And I could still do with doing a little bit more manipulation of pushing these beads together, giving them a bit of a squeeze, getting my knots just the way I want them. And once you've done that, then you take this, so this is where the last beads were. You take these cords, so you've got 4 in one hand, 4 in the other, and now you tie another double knot. And you want the knot to be positioned towards the top of the bead, like that. So I'm bringing the knot up to here so that I can then carry on the curve of the necklace round in that way, rather than right in the middle. Then just tighten that up, and again with knots, to tighten them up and make them neat, you just pull on each cord individually. And once you've done that, then you can load these 8 cords onto your Kumihimo disc and put your beads on. Now, you can do any sort of braid you like for the sides of the necklace. I have chosen to do a partially beaded round braid, which is Congo Gumi braid, and that's with 8 cords. So I've positioned my cords around the disc on either side of the main dots in the north, south, east and west positions. And I've loaded beads onto just 2 cords, the top right and the bottom left. And you will need about, I've just got a couple on here, but you will need about 40 to 50. And all you need to do is, first of all, do 8 individual moves with your regular round braid. And I've got lots of videos on this to tell you in detail how to do it. So if you're not familiar with this, please look at those videos. do 8 individual moves, and then you can start to add in your beads whenever you come to one of those 2 cords with beads on. And it's the usual way. Now these beads are tiny, so there's very little to see here, but it's the usual thing. Although it's tiny, I've done the same thing. I've dropped it down, I've tucked it under the cord I'm going over, and I put the bead in the cord in the slot, and I carry on in that way. As I say, dropping in a bead every time I come to a cord with beads on it. To finish off your necklace, please look at one of my other videos. I've got great videos on how to glue on ends, as I have here, or to wire on ends, and they will give you all the details you need if you're not familiar with how to finish off Kumihimo. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and hope that's given you ideas as well. But I'd also like to give you a few more ideas myself. So video 2 in this series is going to be showing how to make this long pendant design. Well, it's not really a pendant, is it? It's more of a sort of long tassel design. Call it what you will. I hope you like it, and I hope you'll join me for my next video and learn how to make this. And the best way to be kept up to date in all the things that I'm doing is to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That doesn't involve any expense or anything like that. It just means that you will get emails of when I've uploaded new videos, and I've got loads of new ideas coming up, so it's really worth subscribing. Anyhow, till next time, bye.